May I request all of you to take the stage with Mr. Vikas Sachdeva, please? Give them the mics.
So welcome to this panel discussion. Hello, am I audible? Yeah. So welcome to this panel discussion, and I suddenly feel like a relic. Okay, my heart is still 23, but I have people around that age sitting around with me, which is such a great thing for the virtual digital asset industry. That smart minds have entered early and are taking this banner forward. Before we start, can I just quickly ask you to introduce yourselves, what you do in a minute each, so that the audience can just understand where we are all coming from? Starting with you.
Hey everyone, I'm Karan Gill. I'm a chemical engineer from IIT Bombay, but into crypto space from 2022, I have seen like one full cycle from WazirX hack to Bitcoin going to 125 and coming back to $60,000. So I have this company called Swapso, in which we have a Bitcoin self-custody wallet. For your reference, self-custody wallet are like wallets in which you control your Bitcoin asset yourself. And we are also building Bitcoin on EMI product for the globe. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kushal Patel. I run Ohm Alpha. I bought my first crypto back in 2016. I regret that I didn't buy enough. I've had the chance to see two cycles, and while cycles rhyme, they are very different in nature. And we essentially help HNIs invest in digital assets in India. We manage their portfolios for them, and we partner with exchanges like even BitDelta to help grow their HNI outreach programs as well. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kapil Dhiman. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Curanium. We are the world's first quantum secure blockchain ecosystem. We started in 2024. I'm personally in crypto and blockchain since 2016, so close to 10 years now. Curanium now, started as, like I said, the first one. Now we have 200 partners, over 20 million in revenue clocked over, across the globe in 13 countries. Looking forward to this conversation. Thank you.
Could everybody hear him? Because he said he's been in the space since 2016. And I didn't see people saying, wow, because Kushal just said that he missed out on having more Bitcoins, and he was there right at the beginning. So maybe we need to check out how many Bitcoins he actually owns, right?
Oh, well, then you have to hear about me.
Sure.
I'm since 2015 in this space. I'm from IIT Kharagpur background. In my second year, I got into Bitcoin. That was 2015.
Okay.
And my first Bitcoin was actually a hackathon prize money by an exchange. At that time, there was BTCX India. That was one Bitcoin there, and then I bought another one, but then I didn't make much money. It went to 20,000, and then I sold it off there.
Okay.
So anyway, about me, I'm Rohan Sharan. I'm the founder of TimeChain Labs and providing infrastructure for the tokenized economy. We have two products, one for tokenization of financial instruments like bonds, funds, deposits, etc. And another one is for B2B stablecoin payments, cross-border stablecoin payments, and looking to discuss further.
Wow, amazing. We really have a good cross-section of people here, and I'm going to enjoy this presentation. But, while I was listening to you talk, and it just took me back a few years, I'll just say a few years, I won't tell you how many. This was a similar discussion which was happening across different asset classes. I think all asset classes go through this. You have this period of skepticism, and then you have FOMO, and then everything breaks down, and then there is skepticism coming in again and people coming in. There's a whole cycle, and I think it's happened twice in virtual digital assets already, right? What will be very interesting to know is whether we've started moving from the journey from the Wild West towards the Lal Street. From informal discussions on Bitcoin to formal understanding and monetizing this whole Bitcoin journey. And I think this is what I want to start off. The first theme I want to talk about is this still speculation? Bitcoin is still speculation, or is it gravitating towards becoming a more legible asset class? So I'll start with you, Karan. From your point of view, when you are seeing investors, are investors, are users behaving like investors कि अभी भी सट्टा के लिए ज़्यादा लोग आते हैं? Are we largely in a largely speculative phase?
So as you said, like we have 12 crore Indians who have crypto, right? Technically that number is correct, right? But we all know that how that number we come up with from exchange to exchange in 2021, 2022, all the exchanges had heavy funding and they started like 500 rupees for per referral and everyone registered on the exchanges. So that number is technically correct, but practically wrong, right? So I believe from a community, there are two things, either institutions and community. So community is basically people like us who invest on our basis, and then institutions are like companies like JetKing or MicroStrategy, which invest their profits into Bitcoin. From an institutional side, there is much demand, much more stability, much more like informed decision. But from a community or individual perspective, I believe this is still in the early phase where like there are very handful of people who really understand Bitcoin and crypto, and there are like heavy chunk of people who invest in crypto because of either ads or either influence, either FOMO or either YouTubers who missell, right? Because they think that 21 दिन का scheme है, पैसा double, right? So that's my belief, because I keep on interacting with people on a daily basis. I do have an initiative called Bitcoin Bharat in which we organize Bitcoin education events. So nobody is interested in education. Like people are interested in that 21 days का scheme, that crypto में पैसा डालो शाम को double. Right? So that's my take.
Very interesting. I think I see a lot of truth in what you say. A friend of mine basically was complaining to me the other day. This was around a year and a half ago. And he said कि मेरे घर में मैं काम करवा रहा हूँ, कारपेंटर काम ही नहीं करता 9 से 3 के बीच में. तो मतलब 9 से 3 के बीच में क्या करता है फिर वो? बोलता है वो निफ्टी पे सट्टा खेलता है. So I'm just saying that this is the nature of the beast. It is not just for crypto. But unfortunately, like they say, when you start looking for a red car, every car you find is a red car. So now when you're looking at something which is speculative, everybody veers towards crypto. But this is there in every asset class. Trust me, I can tell you solid stories about where I come from. Yeah. But the point which is trying to make, and it is well taken, is that it's largely speculative. It's largely trading. And investments में अभी तक इतना आया नहीं. Which brings me to the next question, Kushal. Do you think that crypto qualifies? Does crypto qualify as an asset class today, deserving an allocation? Or do you still think that it has more time to mature?
So the short answer is that 100% it is an asset class. Even the government calls it virtual digital asset, even though there's no regulation around it yet. But for that, we need to split crypto into 3 departments, which we've spoken about. The first is Bitcoin, which is like your digital gold, which is a longer term investment. Yes, you can trade it if you're a good trader and make good money, but it's something that will always be a hedge against inflation, and it is very safe to put money because even 30 years down the line, it will continue to exist and appreciate. Then are the altcoins, which are more like your low caps of the equity market, which you don't know 30 years down the line, these companies may not even exist. So those are great for short to medium term investing or for trading. And finally, you have your stable coins, which are essentially equivalent to fiat currencies, which are mainly used for transactional purposes. Crypto is an asset class to invest in, but in your presentation before this, you spoke how crypto is top down. I believe crypto started up as extremely bottom up, where the lowest of lowest retail first got into crypto pre-2017. Then post-2017, institutions started thinking about it. And post-2023, when BlackRock entered, it started having this massive top-down approach. So from bottom up also, retail is coming, top-down institutions are coming. So that middle layer of middle-class investors or even HNIs, now that needs to be tapped. And also the current environment for crypto globally, especially if it is led by exchanges all over the world, facilitates trading over investing because the structure is incentivized like that, which is why the process is more gradual than we'd like. But the introduction of ETFs, as you said, coin sets on exchanges, SIP products is changing that. And I think in India, maybe in 5 to 7 years, most wealth managers will start looking at this as a serious single-digit allocation.
I would agree with you because a lot of family offices are already doing that. And normally family offices, once they start getting into it, wealth managers automatically adapt. But it's very interesting you talked about how the industry has matured over a period of time. Talking about maturity, Kapil, security has been one of the biggest issues when one talks about this industry. Do you think that the technology, I'm using a very oversimplified word here. The technology available now is mature enough for people to accept crypto as mainstream finance. To give you a parallel, 30 years ago, mutual funds were sold as share certificates, and they were often copied, and there was a lot of forgery, counterfeit stuff which happened. The moment technology came in terms of dematerialization, unitization, things took off. It's not an apple-to-apple comparison, but what I'm saying is, has the technology as far as virtual digital assets concerned, is it now mature enough to now give trust to people and make it part of mainstream finance, in your opinion?
Well, in terms of the adoption and the utility, the answer is yes. You can practically now, for example, when a fund like BlackRock says that we are going to practically tokenize every asset that we manage, and that's like $10 trillion worth of real estate we're talking about. And tokenization is nothing but a crypto token on blockchain. You're fractionalizing it and it is moving on blockchain. So the technology exists that can make this, make crypto or any digital asset mainstream. It's the point of utility at a larger scale. And the utility starts coming in when the use cases start growing. Now, tokenization has bumped the use case much faster than any other use case that has existed before. Bitcoin, to me, more than any other asset, is a political asset now. Now, we have seen what's happening in the US to kind of get control over the 50% supply of Bitcoin. It's a political asset. Now, once any asset, like Bitcoin is like the flag bearer of cryptocurrencies, if Bitcoin is becoming a political asset, everything else follows. So the adoption is going to keep growing every day for sure, and we are seeing now institutions are getting in. India, of course, is like following. We are seeing a lot of things picking up in India, but outside of India as well, there is a smart allocation that big assets, even HSBC, now started moving towards quantum security, which is like primarily what I focus on, which is the next wave of technology. Now, how do you enable trust in the larger scheme of things to ensure? You made a point in your presentation about investors asking, ye hack to nahi ho jayega, right? Can somebody crack into it? But that I still say that does not stop adoption. That is preparing yourself for the larger adoption. Stage one is people understanding the utility of it. And we are seeing on-ramp, off-ramp capabilities now developing much faster than ever. Today, you can spend, if you have Bitcoin or if you have USDT or Ethereum, you can pay for your coffee with that. Those kind of facilities exist. So it is becoming mainstream. Now it's all about simplifying it and letting people know that, yes, it's as good as a parallel economy moving, to your traditional banking that you were always doing. This one explores you to much more facilities. This one explores you to much more opportunities, like much more diversification in your portfolio. So we are there. It's growing, and it's like any other technology or any other investment class. First, it is speculative, like it's a risk asset. Then we start saying, oh, it is making sense. And then it starts becoming mainstream. Even AI went through that. Yeah. We saw, like everybody uses OpenAI as an example of AI picking up. No, it has been happening since 2 decades. It has been happening in silence, but there came a moment where they're like, okay, now we can use it large stream. Now we can use it really quick. The same thing is going to happen with crypto and blockchain.
Very interesting. Well, it actually brings me to the next point. You've been around since 2015, you were saying, right? You are building real-world financial systems at this point of time. Are we moving, I'm just taking up a cue from what you were saying and asking, are we moving beyond crypto assets into tokenized finance in a big way now? What do you see the landscape looking like?
Absolutely. Over the past 10 years, the last decade, the story has more focused on the asset itself, which is the Bitcoin or Ethereum and others. But over the past few years, the trend and the focus has become on the rails. The rail being the blockchain itself as the rail. And that's very important for Bitcoin and Ethereums because these tokens, if you look at the fundamental value of these tokens, it's based on transaction fees. And the transaction fees is based on utility of the rails, the blockchain rails. That's the revenue. So if that's the fundamental of how you analyze the crypto token itself. So it's very important for the financial systems to be built over the blockchain with tokenization, which is happening. So the focus on rails is increasing the revenue of the blockchain rails itself, which is driving the price as the fundamental value of how you determine the fundamental price bar of Bitcoin or any other asset, how much it is used. In fact, if you look on that, Tron actually has the maximum amount of transactions happening through it because of USDT, of course. So in fact, it has the maximum revenue and the best fundamentals in any other crypto, better than Bitcoin, unfortunately. But even though Bitcoin is sound money and everything else. So this is how you look at the fundamentals. And why it's so important to have real-world tokenization used on the blockchain rails. So what's happening now with the rails becoming the focus is your current assets and current instruments in the financial ecosystem are getting represented on the blockchain as assets, as tokenized instruments. And now they are getting transferred, traded, collateralized. They are having the benefit of being better. They're not just digital representation of because they were tokenized. The benefit of tokenized versus digitized is that tokenized instruments are having faster redemption. You can get the liquidity out of it faster, and they're having resellable markets, so it's more liquid. And because of that, it's creating faster cycles. You can collateralize it as well. So capital efficiency of moving in, moving out is faster. So if that is there with an investor, so they can park more amount of capital into the fund or into the equity because they know they can exit it immediately to pay for their goods and services. So they can keep more capital locked in, and then they can leverage it based on collateralization of that as well. So there is more locked in capital and more capital efficiency built on top of it. So all this infrastructure layer is powering the use cases which the financial ecosystem is building upon. As you mentioned, the BlackRock has launched that fund, and then Franklin Templeton has done it, and then other institutions are also getting into it, and that's been the major driver of the past few years and where it's going.
Fascinating. Fascinating. If you are getting overwhelmed by terms like tokenization and quantum and all of that, I would suggest you go to their websites, read up on them, do some research. But I will warn you that if you start doing that, there is a very high chance you will never come back to traditional finance again. Okay, I started doing that 4 months ago, and I'm completely seduced by this virtual digital assets sort of ecosystem. It's amazing. You will start seeing glimpses of what the future is actually going to hold for you, and this is just what they're talking about. But talking about the future, Kushal, you've been a very vocal proponent of keeping VDAs in an asset allocation. I'm just, in my mind, I'm just thinking that is it something which is a meandering activity, or is it something which is a considered allocation? How do people think about it? What will give a disciplined allocator like you comfort to move from little bit of allocation that you are doing right now and recommending to more meaningful sort of allocation? What will give you that comfort?
Regulations will give anyone comfort for sure. But another, I'm very truthfully, the second factor is Bitcoin going to 200K. Because we get comfort when the wealth managers and the family offices get comfort, and sadly the highest investing and highest volumes only happen when you are at all-time highs. In fact, it's an indicator that when random family offices start calling you that you want to invest in crypto, beware, there's very highly likely that the market has stopped.
Very interesting. I think most from traditional finance, this will ring a bell, right? When everybody wants to jump into a small cap, mid cap, and buy nifty, low, is the time you should be a little careful. Yeah. Kapil, one of the things that sorry, you want to say something else, Kushal? Okay. When the technology becomes very robust or is perceived to be very robust, is that a very big factor to bring in capital, or is it just one of the factors which is important to bring in capital? Is it one of the things which will move the needle?
One of the factors, I would say. The first one is, of course, like perceiving and understanding where the needle should go. Now, let's take the example of Bitcoin. It started picking up when the world started noticing, oh, okay, there is a flaw in the current financial system. So we need a technology like this. So people started buying it. Then an improvisation came from there. Why did Ethereum come in place? Because Bitcoin smart contract capabilities were very limited. Bitcoin initially started as a medium of exchange. It became a store of value later because the technology could not advance. And that's why Ethereum picked up. And Ethereum was slow. Solana came and said, okay, we are going to make it faster. So the first signal is understanding, okay, this can go somewhere and this can achieve a lot of things. ChatGPT was a signal. Today, what Claude is doing is 10 times better than ChatGPT. They're competing and everything, but that gave a signal. So the first factor to move in capital is the signal and understanding, okay, this is where the world can go ahead. The second factor is, okay, how much the technology is maturing and how much is the actual end usage for that. The best example I always use for this is like seeing what Elon Musk would do. When he started, okay, I'm going to make like, reusable rockets. It was insane as an idea. But okay, if he's able to do that, it's going to be the best thing that can happen to the planet. So billions were invested in that. And eventually when he delivered, now it is becoming a rotational thing. Like more and more people now, everybody, if you're not making a reusable rocket, you're wasting money. So that's how the timeline of any innovation shifts. And we're going to see the same pattern in digital assets as well. First, when you'll come and say, okay, we want to do tokenization. It's crazy. Why do I not tokenize my real estate? I'm happy with my home. Within 5 years, when BlackRock says that we are going to tokenize practically everything because they are seeing the world from at a macro level, everybody wants to tokenize things. I'm currently tokenizing more than $4 billion worth of water. Like this was even for me when this one started happening. For me also it was a surprise. Okay, water is being tokenized, but when we started diving deeper into the whole mechanics and the supply chain of water, from like when it is retrieved to when it reaches the end consumer, it made all the practical sense that we can tokenize it. So just from one client, I'm tokenizing 4 billion worth of water. Now it is expanding to like mines, to gold, to diamond, to supply chain, practically everything, because the potential in having an illiquid asset becoming liquid, that's...
Understood. You talked about Elon Musk. You talked about a few names you follow. I think, and BlackRock. That is actually a manifestation of the fact that people value trust. So if a guy like Elon Musk makes a claim which sounds outlandish, people trust him. I think technology eventually catches up. I'm just trying to draw a very simplistic conclusion that technology will eventually catch up where trust starts prevailing.
Very fair point. But just one addition to that is trust also is earned. So first, when you start saying, okay, I want to do this. So 2024, when I started Curanium, my mission was I'm going to make a quantum secure blockchain. First 60 conversations was like, okay, you're nuts. Build something in AI, like conversational AI and everything. Why quantum security? Quantum computers are not here yet. 8 months consistently doing it. When in October, Google came out with the Willow chip, then all the people who called me stupid came back and say, oh, okay, you are on track. And everybody started pouring in the money then. So you have to show consistency and believe in what you are doing. And if it is something is important to be done, you put all power to do it. Then you start earning trust. Then you start earning people backing you. And then technology gets built as well. It's all about like consistently just going after it.
Understood. Rohan, I want to put on the hat of an institutional investor at this point of time and ask you this question. Do you think a tokenized financial product can make crypto more amenable for an institutional investor like me? He talked about tokenizing water. I'm just thinking if I'm an institutional investor and I want to do stuff like that, I want to get into illiquid assets. Rohan comes to me and he talks about a tokenized financial product. Will it start appealing to me, or will I resist that, saying I'm already making a lot of money, I'm already entrenched in my conventional manner of thinking and investing? What's your view?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of traction coming in with treasury teams of businesses or institutional investors where they are seeing the benefit of having a more liquid investment in, let's say, a tokenized mutual fund or a tokenized deposit of a bank, in which they are able to not liquidate or not get out of the position. At the same time, they are able to transfer it, clear off their, or leverage it, clear off their payables, or at the same time leverage it to get more investments into other products or to get a loan on top of it. So that becomes a very good product that is better than any traditional asset that there is. Even though you can collateralize your mutual fund existing right now, but the paperwork to be done
huge.
to achieve it is so huge. It's not easily doable, and that's why it's not done. The friction is too high. And this is just one use case. Like that, when you have more and more asset classes that get tokenized, all of those interconnectivities between those asset classes that we can, let's say, clear off this payable through this fund unit which is invested as a collateral, or you can connect it with the housing product that is tokenized real estate as an investment class. Again, that is liquid and fractionalized. So smaller retailers, smaller investors are able to get into purchases of fractions of a property instead of purchasing the whole thing, which much more people are able to access. So more inclusive that way. And that's why it's increasing the scope, increasing the AUM, assets under management, of all of these players who have issued a tokenized instrument instead of a normal instrument. And for the investors, the benefit is very clear that they are able to
Yeah.
liquidate it immediately, and they don't need to have big positions. They can have fractions of a positions, and they can collateralize it to leverage it further with more investments. So that's the benefits that they are seeing, and even
Super.
corporate teams are seeing these benefits in capital efficiency immediately in their treasury.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Karan, I'm going to ask you a question, from your data which is at your disposal. Uh, are you seeing a shift from a real gradual shift from short-term trading to long-term investing? Is the tenure where people are coming and investing stroke trading increasing as per the data which is with you? What is your view?
So like specific to crypto, I believe, right? So specific to crypto, like everyone starts with trading only because like I also started with trading. I believe most of us started with trading only. I think you only started with like the hackathon thing, but most of people start with trade. Eventually, they try futures, lost some money. Either if you're good with trading and good with insights, because most of the crypto world works very well on insights. Like you can't predict. Similar to like in stocks, we can have fundamental analysis of a company and we can see, okay, in next 10 years, this will go this way or this way, right? But in crypto, unfortunately, that doesn't work in the short term run. And it doesn't work in most of the altcoins also. It only, the longer horizon trades works only in Bitcoin. That is more like a long-term trade. And for the short-term trades, I believe that doesn't work in crypto most of the times. So everyone start with trading. Either they quit, either they just move on to investing for the long-term asset study and then move on to the better part of it.
See, we are living in a world where this answer will always be the same across asset classes, that trading will continue to rise at a rapid pace. We are now living in the world powered by companies like Polymarket, where you can bet on Bitcoin with leverage on what the price will be after 5 minutes. So it's like, which is also why the government tried to increase tax on futures and options, and it's not playing out that well now. This is a situation globally across asset classes, across behaviors. So I think in crypto, it's nothing new.
No, I agree with you. Like they say, if you lose money, you become a long-term investor. So I think people have to go through the whole emotions first. Uh, in the interest of time, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Wherein I need to give you an answer, give me an answer in brief. Okay, and then I'll shift to some rapid-fire questions. What I'm trying to get at, and this is something you must have really applied your mind to all of you guys. What is the one factor that you think the industry needs to keep in mind to scale itself up? So, Kapil, from your point of view, what is, from a technology standpoint, what is the one breakthrough which is required for this industry to scale meaningfully? What's the one breakthrough?
Have an open mind. I think.
Have an open mind.
Open
Very
mind
interesting.
completely.
Very interesting. Rohan, from a real world deployment perspective, what do you think needs to fall in place for things to move from pilots to scale?
Accounting standards for
Accounting standards. Okay.
yeah
Please
for
elaborate.
digital assets to be held
Oh,
by
okay.
companies or corporations, so they can, because they need accounting for to be very clear, and they
Correct.
can hold it. So regulatory clarity is in sync with
In a
this.
manner of speaking, yeah,
yeah.
okay.
But that's the most critical, because if we know the journal entries, what is required to be entered when we receive a payment, when we clear an invoice in stable coins or in other instruments, how is that? If that is clear, if that is their guarantee, okay, this is good to go, government says that, regulator says that it's good, then yeah, I think
Very
there will be
good point.
more things to come.
Very good point. Karan, from your point of view, what is the one thing which needs to change for an investor to move from short-term to long-term investing?
I believe like we should allow more and more treasury companies, just like Jet King in India, because that can give you Bitcoin exposure without the risk of losing your asset class, because that basically solves the problem of UX for many of the users. You can get a Bitcoin exposure without exposed to the risk that Bitcoin inherit itself.
So you're saying you should be having exposure to Jet King or get more companies like Jet King inside the space?
Like we should get more companies like Jet
Jet
King.
King into the space. Interesting. Very interesting. Kushal, it's a slightly different question for you, but does something like a quantum threat impact decision making for your clients today?
Hello. Yeah. Sorry. He spoke about the quantum threat already. So the quantum threat is something that scared everyone in March when Google came out with its paper. But it's something very far away yet. So I just want to clear that out. You need like 500,000 qubit worth of quantum computing power to affect Bitcoin's algorithms. And right now, Willow is at, I think, at 110. So there's a long way to go. It's a real threat, but there are a lot of proposals in the Bitcoin network like BIP 360, if you read about it, which will solve for the threat before the threat comes in. But I'd also just like to take 10 seconds to answer their question, because I think companies need to understand that although it's a new asset, sell it traditionally. So doing an IPL ad won't get you ROI, but having a distributor network the way AMCs in India have will get you ROI. So traditionally sell a new asset. That's what I believe
So
in.
that would have been my obvious question, which is, so that's the one thing you're asking for, right?
Sorry, I think it's my moral responsibility to just add.
Of
The
course.
facts that he mentioned about quantum threats are incorrect. I just wanted to add that. But yeah, I'll not interfere. That's a separate discussion, I think, in the interest of time. But I just wanted to say the facts are incorrect.
Okay.
But we are far away from it.
Do we have time to debate on that?
Not really.
That's
but
why I'm not getting into it. But I just wanted to drop so that people can go out and research and check, so that you know the right facts. That's it.
No, I think there's always two sides to the same coin, right? So, and that's how every industry assigns value to a particular thing. So I would love to be a fly on the wall when both of you discuss.
I want to get it correct.
Sure. Last rapid fire question, Rohan. फटाफट जो आपके दिमाग में आता है बोलना, top of the mind. One theme you're bullish on beyond BTC or Ethereum. What is one thing which you're very bullish on?
Of course, stable coins.
Stable coins.
Yep.
Wonderful. Kapil, one risk. Sorry, Rohan. आपको पूछ ले Kapil. One risk people are ignoring.
Quantum risk.
Quantum risk. Okay, so you're very I love this. Yeah. Kushal, one overhyped narrative in crypto today.
Don't say quantum.
No, that's a real threat, as I said. Layer 2 solutions.
Sorry?
Layer 2 solutions.
Okay, layer 2 solutions.
Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, all of that.
Okay. Karan, one change that would make it easier to build and operate in this space.
Regulations, I believe.
Regulations. So, it's clarity of thought is amazing. You ask for one thing, they're already ready. You ask for one insight, they're already ready. Amazing. And that is what, ladies and gentlemen, makes me very bullish about this industry going forward. I made a statement saying that a lot of intelligent capital as well as intelligent minds have already moved to this space. And that is what I think is going to be the genesis of an explosive growth which is coming in here. I started by talking about Wild West to Dalal Street. I'm sure that we moved away from the Wild West space. We are already moving towards more formalization, more normalization, and it augurs very, very well. Thank you very much, panelists, for your amazing insights, and thank you, audience, for being such an amazing listeners. Thank you, everyone.